All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what is up? What is good? What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. So, we're finally here. It's finally time for the NFL playoffs. It is Super Wild Card Weekend. So, this should be a very interesting weekend. We got a lot of interesting matchups here, and I can see a couple upsets happening. We got 6 games to talk about. Well, technically 5, because yesterday I told you guys I spent Thursday as the day that I was going to talk about the Ravens and Bengals and the Ravens and Bengals only. I made a live stream where we decided to go through the game and see what would happen. And at the end of the day, I decided to pick my team. I'm going down on my shield, guys. If the Ravens lose, the Ravens lose, but I'm not betting against them. I'm certainly not putting a pick on Cincinnati. No, if we lose, we lose. But I'm going to pick the upset. And I made that live stream yesterday with the understanding that that could very well be the last time I talk about the Ravens in a matchup for this season. So if we lose, we lose, but I'm going down on my shield. Now, of course, in the live stream, we did make sure to specify that objectively, Cincinnati should be able to win because they're red hot right now. They're looking like one of the best teams in the AFC. They've got the better offense, and obviously the Ravens don't have Lamar Jackson playing, so there's no excuse for Cincinnati to lose this game at home. They should be able to win, but I'm going out on my shield, so I picked the Ravens. Well, with that, it leaves us with 5 games to talk about, and I'm not going to take too long. I don't want this to go on into a long video. I just want to talk about each and every matchup briefly. So let's start off with the 4:35 game we're going to have tomorrow. We have the Seattle Seahawks heading to San Francisco to take on the Niners. I don't want to waste too much time with this. I am picking the San Francisco 49ers. If you've heard what I've said this year, I have said the Niners defense is the most dangerous defense in football right now. They have been carrying this team. In fact, the Niners as a whole, between them and the Eagles, I don't know who has the edge, but those 2 teams are the most complete teams in football right now. And I love what I'm seeing from the Niners defense. That Niners defense has terrorized high-octane offenses. We saw what they did against the Miami Dolphins with Tua in the lineup. I love what I'm seeing from this Niners defense. I believe in the Niners, and I believe that they have an opportunity to potentially go the distance and get to the Super Bowl. I'm picking them in this game. Now, Seattle, I think they're going to keep it close. It is a divisional matchup, so anything can happen. I think Geno Smith's going to have a hell of a game, but I don't think Geno Smith can be able to come up with enough plays offensively to beat that defense. And again, with Brock Purdy, we're still trying to figure out, is Brock Purdy a great quarterback, or is Brock Purdy just, he's just running the system and he's a product of the Niners offense? I mean, most people pick the second option, but he's showcased some throws that, you weren't getting early on in the season from Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance in the 1.5 game he played. But yeah, Brock Purdy has made some plays that you haven't seen come out of this offense in quite some time. So Brock Purdy, I think he's going to do a well enough job. Obviously, he has weapons all around him to utilize. Obviously, a Christian McCaffrey. You've got a George Kittle. You got weapons all over the place to utilize. Ayuk, we can go on. Obviously, Debo. There's plenty of guys that they have to utilize. So the Niners, I expect them to be able to get this job done. I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout, but Seattle, I don't think they're going to be able to match up with them, especially down the stretch. I got the Niners winning this game. Next up, we have a Saturday night game, and this is a game between 2 quarterbacks making their playoff debut. We have Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers heading over to Jacksonville to take on Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, this is very interesting. When it comes down to the matchups, offensively, I'm taking the Chargers. I like the Chargers offense a bit more than I like the Jags offense. Now, don't get me wrong, the Jags offense is nice. They definitely got weapons. A Zay Jones, a Christian Kirk, and Evan Ingram, who's been playing very well for them this season. And of course, you got NTN running the ball. So I think they got some nice pieces and nice weapons to utilize. But I do like the Chargers a little bit more. Now, granted, in this game, you're not going to get a Mike Williams. He's been ruled out, and he's dealing with a back issue, so I'm not even sure if he's going to be able to return. They said it's going to be a couple weeks, so I don't know if he would be able to return unless the Chargers ended up in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, he's probably done for now, and I don't know if the Chargers are going to be able to go the distance. But, yeah, I like the Chargers off a little bit better. You're still going to have Keenan Allen there. Obviously, you're going to have Austin Eckler. You do still have weapons to utilize in that Chargers offense, and I expect Justin Herbert to get everybody involved. Defensively, no question, I'm taking the Jaguars. Now, I do like the Chargers' pass rushing unit. I like what I see from the front seven, but I don't trust in that secondary. Whereas with the Jacksonville Jaguars, I like their front seven and I enjoy their secondary. I think their secondary is good enough to get the job done. And in fact, their defense has been the main force as to why Jacksonville's in the playoffs in the first place. That defense literally won them 2 games. The defense won them the game last week against the Titans, and the defense won them the game against the Cowboys. So this defense has been carrying, and I expect them to come out here and play like a dominant force. They've been red hot. The team's been red hot. They're at home. I think this defense is going to be a problem. Another aspect, coaching. When you look at the side of Jacksonville, they have the advantage there. They got Doug Peterson, who has done a great job turning things around for this Jacksonville Jaguars team. Obviously, he's a Super Bowl winning coach, won with the Eagles, so we know what he's about. And he has done a great job with this Jacksonville Jaguars team in turning around their season. On the flip side, you got Brandon Staley, who has not had a great season as a coach. In fact, people believe that if the Chargers lose this game, he's getting fired. So anything could happen at this point. Staley may be playing for his future career here as a coach for the LA Chargers. And he has not been good throughout the season, yet they're still in the playoffs. So I guess give credit to the players for being able to get it done. So yeah, Stanley right now is not looking good, and I trust in Doug Peterson more than I trust in Brandon Staley. So the edge goes there. But for me, the determining factor and a big part of why I decided to make my pick was the quarterbacks. I think it's going to come down to the quarterback play. Now, Trevor Lawrence has had a great season in the second half. He's turned around this season. Obviously, his coming out party game was against the Ravens. That was the best game he played up until now in his young career. He looked like he was finally putting it together, pulling off that comeback. It was amazing, and he's had some moments throughout this season. But I like Justin Herbert better as a quarterback, and I believe because of what Justin Herbert is capable of, his ability to throw the football, which we've compared to a Josh Allen and a Patrick Mahomes, his ability to throw the football is going to be the difference maker, and it's a big part as to why I've made my prediction. I have the LA Chargers beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think this is the time for Justin Herbert to establish himself. He's been called overrated, and for pretty much all of his career, he's looked like that. He's showcased the talent, he's showcased the ability, but the fact that they haven't been in the playoffs is partly on him because there's been moments where he hasn't shown up. Now you're in the playoffs, it's time to showcase what you can do. Patrick Mahomes has shown what he can do in the playoffs by winning a Super Bowl. Josh Allen has finally put it together, and he's putting up great performances in the playoffs. It's time for you, who has that arm talent that Mahomes and Allen has. It's time for you to show up. It's your first playoff game, I get it, but it's time for you to show up and showcase what you can do. I got Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is my second favorite quarterback to watch behind Lamar, so I believe in Herbert's abilities, and I've been speaking highly of this guy over the last couple years. It's time for him to show up in a big moment. I have the Chargers. Moving on to tomorrow, this is a game that I expect to be relatively quick. We have the Miami Dolphins without Tua going up against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. I don't like the Dolphins defense. I haven't liked the Dolphins defense all season, and I don't think the Dolphins defense is going to be enough to stop Josh Allen completely. However, I will say this though, this is an AFC East matchup, and if you look at the two matchups, the Dolphins have done a good job in stopping Josh Allen and that Bills defense. Obviously, you saw the first matchup in Miami. You saw what the Dolphins defense was able to do. And then the second matchup, they were able to keep it close because of what the defense was doing. Josh Allen this year has been somewhat reckless with the football. He's been turning it over a lot, especially in the red zone, throwing red zone picks, and I don't like that. He's made up with it by making big plays and big throws down the field, but I don't like the turnovers. So there may be some opportunities for this Dolphins defense to pick off Josh Allen, but I don't think it's going to be enough to completely contain him. And yeah, Miami, they have their weapons. You're going to have a rookie Skylar Thompson playing because obviously Tua's been ruled out, and I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is good enough to go. So Skylar is going to come out there and play. And for Skylar, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, run the offense, hand the ball to Mostert, get the ball in the hands of your top tier receivers in a Tyreek Hill and a Jalen Waddle, and get it to Mike Gesicki and utilize your weapons. If you're careful, if you're cautious, you don't turn the ball over, you're going to give Miami a chance to pull off this upset. Buffalo obviously has their weapons as well. They have a Stephon Diggs, you've got a Davis, you've got a Knox, you've got weapons there. Obviously, they brought back Beasley. You've got weapons to utilize, and I expect Josh Allen to utilize all his weapons. I think it's going to be much closer than what people expect. I don't think this is a blowout. However, I'm still taking the Buffalo Bills, so the Bills will advance. Next up, we got an interesting game here. We got the New York Giants heading to Minnesota. Minnesota's not heading to the Giants. The New York Giants are heading to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. This is interesting. The Vikings have had somewhat of a historical year because they've been the comeback kid, no question. They've had so many matchups where they've been either down by double digits or just down in general, and they've had to pull off comebacks in order to win. And they were able to pull it off. Credit to them. Me personally, I like what I saw from the Vikings in terms of being able to play like head-to-head, toe-to-toe, come down to the wire and be able to win that game overall. Obviously, the biggest comeback in NFL history happened when they came back down 33 against the Colts. So we know what this team is made of. But for me personally, I've been literally like keeping a real good eye on the New York Giants. I love the Giants defense. When you look at on the NFC, obviously the Niners defense is number one. But I think an argument can be made that the Giants defense is up there with the Eagles defense. Arguably, they're about equal, if not, the Giants have a little bit of a competitive edge. I really like the Giants defense. A big part of why they're in the playoffs in the first place is the Giants defense. The Giants defense in the fourth quarter has been able to win them games. Now, you look at the Giants offense, it's nothing too spectacular or special, but you do still have Saquon Barkley that's been running the hell out of the football, and honestly, he's looked like the best running back in football. You can make that argument. He's played like that this year. And Daniel Jones is not turning the ball over. He's being cautious with it, and he's making some nice throws and some nice plays. If you can get that level of production from both Daniel Jones not turning the ball over and Saquon Barkley running the hell out of the football and being great and making big plays, then you should be able to get it done with the way this defense is playing. I already said I don't like the Vikings defense. Even though they've made some key plays in key situations, I still don't fully trust the Vikings defense. Offensively, we already know the weapons they have. Obviously, the biggest weapon in football with them having freaking Justin Jefferson. But me personally, I don't trust Kirk Cousins in big games. Take a look at his resume. Take a look at his history. Maybe this is the year where he finally breaks that history and breaks that mindset. Maybe. I don't know. I personally don't trust him in big moments. If they're going to win, it's going to have to be because of the defense. And then you got to take a look at the matchup that these two had when they matched up the first time. It came down to the wire, and it took, a 60 or 61-yard field goal for them to be able to win that game. It came down to wire. It's very close. The defense was able to keep the Giants in, and the Giants were able to make plays. And, of course, the Vikings down the stretch was able to make plays to set themselves up to win that game. I think this game is going to be similar to that. However, I think the difference maker is going to be the defense this time around making a stop and not allowing the Vikings to get themselves into field goal range or to get a touchdown to win the game. With that being said, I'm going with the Giants. That is an upset there because a lot of people believe the Vikings can get it done this time because of the amount of close games they've played and how they've been able to come back from any deficit. I'm going to take the Giants in the massive upset here. I think it's coming down to the wire. I think it's going to come down to a game-winning drive where Kirk Cousins is going to have to prove his worth, go down the field, and I don't think the Giants defense is going to allow that this time. They allowed them to get into field goal range last time to win the game when they matched them in the regular season. That Giants defense did not forget that. If the scenario comes up here again on Sunday, the Giants defense will be prepared. So I'm taking the New York Giants to win this game. I think Daniel Jones will do just enough to help the offense put up some points. Saquon Barkley, I expect him to show up and be great. And yeah, I expect Kirk Cousins to be able to make some plays. Justin Jefferson made some great throws, but I don't fully trust him to get the job done. I know Justin Jefferson is going to show up in this moment. And yeah, we'll just have to see how things go. But I am going to pick the Giants to make a stop when they need to help the Giants advance to the divisional round. We already spoke on the Ravens and Bengals. Objectively, Cincinnati should win this game. But I picked the Ravens because I'm going to die with my team and die with all my shield. I'm going to pick my team to the very bitter end. Last but not least, we have the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa on Monday night. Let me just keep it very clear. I never bet against Tom Brady in the playoffs. I never bet against Tom Brady in the playoffs. Unless he's going up against my team, because I'm not going to bet that Tom Brady beats my team. When he was with the Patriots, I always believed the Ravens could win. And they found ways to win multiple playoff games in Foxborough, so I know they can win there. But you don't bet against Tom Brady, and I'm not going to bet against Tom Brady here. Tom Brady has never lost to the Dallas Cowboys. In his entire career, he has never lost to the Dallas Cowboys. So Tampa Bay's at home. It's the playoffs where Brady shows up, and he's going up against a team he's never lost to his entire career. Meanwhile, Dallas has a 25-plus year history of choking in the playoffs. They don't show up in these big moments. Now, talent-wise, Dallas is the more talented team. Unquestionable. Undoubtedly, they are the best team in this matchup. They are the more talented team. They're the better team. We know that. But I don't trust the Dallas Cowboys. I do not trust in Dak because he has really been turning the ball over. I'm pretty sure he's tied for the most interceptions this I think it's 14 or 15. Yeah. No, he's tied. He's tied. I thought he was leading. No, I think he's tied for the most interceptions thrown this season because I think he's up there with Derek Carr or something. He's like 14 or 15. But Dak has been really turning the ball over. And also, I don't trust Mike McCarthy because Mike McCarthy has not been getting it done as the guy, as the head coach. He wasn't getting it done in Green Bay, and I don't think he's going to get it done here again. And we saw what happened last year, the wild card round when they took on the Niners. I don't trust the Dallas defense. Actually, not even the Dallas defense. I don't trust the Dallas offense. I think the Dallas defense will show up and try to make it very difficult for Brady because that defense has been relatively great all year. But I don't trust the Dallas offense because I don't trust Dak Prescott. And I think Dallas is going to find a way to hurt themselves again. Again, everything's set up for Brady and the Bucs to win. Brady's in the playoffs where you don't question him and you don't doubt him. He's at home. And he's going up against a team that he's never lost to in his entire career. Meanwhile, Dallas has been a team that has consistently choked in these moments. So everything is set up for Brady to win. And I'm not betting against Brady, so I got Tampa Bay winning. All right. So with those picks, we have the Niners beating the Seahawks, the Chargers beating the Jaguars, the Bills beating the Dolphins, the Giants beating the Vikings. I chose the Ravens to upset the Bengals, though objectively Cincinnati should be able to win. And last but not least, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating the Dallas Cowboys. So that's your 6 games right there. Those are your 6 winners by my prediction. So if that ends up being the case, then that means you will see next week in the divisional round, we will have the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Kansas City to take on the number 1 seeded Chiefs, while the LA Chargers will travel to Buffalo to take on the Bills. In the NFC, we will have an NFC East matchup in the divisional round where the New York Giants will be traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, and you'll have Tom Brady getting another crack at that Niners defense in the divisional round. That should be the matchup. One thing that could change is Cincinnati could end up getting the win because they're supposed to be the better team and there's no Lamar Jackson. If that ends up being the case, then obviously the switch would be that instead of Baltimore going to Kansas City, you will have an AFC West matchup where the LA Chargers will be heading down to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. And we will get a very emotional game because we'll have the Cincinnati Bengals heading to Buffalo to take on the Bills in what will be a game everybody will be talking about. So those are my predictions. Those are my picks. We will see what happens tomorrow. Should be very interesting. Should be very competitive. It's going to come down to the wire, and I cannot wait to see what happens on Super Wildcard Weekend. With that being said, that is all I've got, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys watching. And with that being said, I'm out of here, man. Peace.